house, it was noted that there were several violations on that, for that use permit. That use permit was rescinded, and they reapplied for a CUP. We took that CUP to the P&Z Commission. They denied it, and but that's recommendations. It's here for your supervisors to approve, deny, or amend anything they want on it. So where we're here today is just to present it to you and go forward. So this is a conditional use permit to allow for multiple RVs on there, structures on there, Connex box on there, tough shed on there, utilities to several of the things prior to primary use, which is not allowed for the zoning, but you allow for the use permit for a certain amount of time, but they're going for a CUP, which allows it to be, you're changing the rules for that property at that time. That's what they're asking for, and that's up to you to approve, deny, or modify. So if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer.
Thank you, Randy. Supervisor Humphrey.
Okay, staff is working on a zoning, correct, rezoning for Gila County to get our ducks in a row as far as zoning goes. And we are going to work on some of these properties, fifth wheels and that kind of thing in zoning. Is that correct?
Yes, so this is not for the RV. This is for the structures that were added without permits.
Right. I mean, I understand that.
Okay.
But with that, we're trying to create some kind of organization for growth in Gila County, especially like in Tano Basin area where we have the new bridge. We've got a lot of property. We've got a lot of things going on there. And in my opinion, if we start letting things like this go, then we're going to be here every time we have a meeting with someone wanting to do something that is not allowed to be done at this point in time. And so, therefore, my 2 cents is, yes, I want people to come to Gila County. I want, you know, I want the growth in Gila County, but I don't want a bunch of sheds and things in areas that are going to create us problems later.
Okay. Supervisor Klein.
So, Randy, just trying to keep up with your conversation. These folks had applied for some kind of special use permit to have these things?
So there was a use permit for 2 things that we give for 2 years. They had a Connex box and a shed. And it said on there, like, no, weren't supposed to run utilities because you need permits. Weren't supposed to have other structures. Not supposed to have other vehicles on there. All the stuff that we have on a normal, no storage outside type stuff. They brought in another carport to go over, and I think it was like 40 feet. Carport came in, built that without a permit, added utilities to all of the structures without permits, and at that point then the use permit was withdrawn because of the violations, especially since they had signed specifically that they read, understood, and would abide by those rules that were presented. And then they've come back now and asked for this conditional use permit. So there was a use permit, and now there's a conditional use permit, which is more severe. And so it goes with the property. So this would be, could be a long-term thing that they did there. And basically, they're trying to get approval for what has already been done.
Okay. That's no secret. I don't like our permitting processes anyway. I don't like a lot of the zoning that we have. I'm glad to hear that we're somehow looking at rezoning, which 100% this board needs to be involved. And I think that's good. I agree with Tim's thoughts of how that basin is going to grow. It is, it already has. It's going to grow more. I'm a firm believer when you spend your money and buy some property and stuff, you should have some latitude to do some things on it. And so I was just curious, and so now I understand more. They had the use permit and they just overdid it.
Yeah, so we were allowing them what they were responsible for, and with conditions, you know, to get permits and all that stuff, and they didn't. And so it was withdrawn. And then they're trying to get a CUP, which is the next step.
Right.
But again, the P&Z board recommended denial, and so we're here. But you guys make the decision, so you can override that anytime you want. Like again, we're here for your approval, denial, or modification moving forward.
Okay, thank you, Randy.
Yes, sir.
What was the P&Z's reasoning for denial?
That they had violated the rules that were already set. They didn't have confidence that the rules would be followed in the future, because there are conditions for a conditional use permit. There was talk all over the place. I mean, from Supervisor Klein's stance that it's their property, they should be able to do some of the stuff that they want to. They broke the rules, and we're not going to approve BWAP items being placed on the property.
And they knew the rules before they broke them?
Yes, sir. They signed for on May 30th that they understood, and we're going to abide by the rules.
Okay. And so, in a sense, what they're doing by applying for the COP is asking for forgiveness or something to, so what's the consequence of this failing today for them? Do they have to move the items there?
They would probably have to disconnect them, move them, because they were hooked up without permit to begin with and installed. The building was built, well, not building, carport was built without permits. They'd probably have to move it to a different property if they wanted to get a permit for using them.
And then reapply for,
and reapply and
the correct
follow
way,
what
and
conditions
then work through it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So they're not able to do that currently at this time, to reapply for permits?
No, sir.
Okay.
They're in violation at this point.
Understand. All right, then I'll close our discussion and open it up to the public. Is there there's no one in Payson?
No, sir.
Cassandra? Oh, no. And is there anyone here in Globe that wishes to speak? Yes, ma'am?
I'm Kim Porter.
Could you please come to the microphone? And thank you for coming today.
Yes, thank you for having me.
And you're the property owner?
Yes.
Okay, so Kim Porter.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. We were in the midst of, let me just start out. I'm a city girl. I have no idea. I did sign the paperwork though. My bad for not fully reading and understanding what I was signing. That's on me, absolutely. So we have power to the Connex. I was using it as a pantry storage, so we wanted the air conditioning in there. The shed has an extension cord running to our power box. We got permits for that, for the septic. Our intention is to build the home. So we have the spot to build the home. So in speaking with my husband, we're looking at 2 years. We'll be able to go ahead and build our home up there. So how it looks is not how it seems. My husband had 2 major surgeries. I've had 3 major surgeries. My mother-in-law got sick and has now just passed. So we just had things hitting us, boom, boom, boom. It wasn't like, oh, we could do this and get away with that. Not our intention. Life just happened over and over and over. So we pulled our permit. We had put one in to build our house. We pulled it because we knew we weren't going to be able to do it with the surgeries and the medical condition of my mother-in-law. Moving forward, we still plan on building, like I said, 2 years. My mother-in-law just passed last month, so we're getting all that squared away, and it's on my husband and I to get her stuff set up and get everything taken care of. So it is definitely still our intention to build our retirement home up there. As far as the power to the Connex, we could remove the Connex if we have to. I didn't think I was in violation putting an extension cord to the tough shed. We have the water tank that the pump is inside the shed. So we have an extension cord running there to run the pump for the water. And what else? Oh,
Is
the
your
Versatube.
well inside of that shed? Is that,
So we have a big water tank
okay,
holding the water, and then the pump is in the shed to feed the water.
I see, got it.
Yeah. The Versatube, sorry. I've had a few brain surgeries as well, so excuse my slowness. Versatube, we didn't think we needed a permit. There's no floor. It has two cement, I don't know what to call them, where the poles go in to keep it secure from the wind.
Okay,
We were in the process of getting that permitted when we stopped in with the violation. So we stopped that. We got the Versatube engineer stamp for the Versatube to submit it to the county, and that was stopped because of the violation. So it wasn't like we were trying to get over on anything.
okay.
Ignorance.
Any questions or comments, Supervisor Humphrey?
Yeah, I have a question. Do you live on that property?
Yes. Well, we haven't since the end of November. We've been down in the valley dealing with my mother-in-law's stuff, so we're actually going back home today.
Okay, so you did live on the property with the
Yes.
violation?
Yes.
Okay, I guess I have a question for Randy. And that would be, Randy, they were given special use permits for the Connex and a shed because they had a permit or had a permit in to build a home.
They had they had a use permit and they had a permit for the home in there.
Correct.
And the use permits allows for 2 items for 2 years
Okay.
to be on the site. Usually we don't allow footings.
Okay, is that 2 years up?
No.
Okay. So they're good until that 2 years is
Yeah,
up,
believe-
or
believe
that
it's
was in violation when they withdrew the home plans?
The violation occurred after the plans were withdrawn.
Okay. Now, in Gila County, if someone puts in plans to build a home, do you tell them they got a year or 3 years to build a home?
We don't tell them that they have basically 2 years to build it, and then they're allowed to have 2 extensions of 6 months each
Okay.
for free. So you can get 3 years to construct a house.
Okay. I guess another question is, why did you withdraw the plans?
My husband had 2 major surgeries.
Oh, I
literally 1 year,
understand
and
that. I
had 3.
understand that, but I'm wondering, I guess I'm asking, why did you withdraw the plans when you could have put in for an extension and not been in violation?
We didn't know what our finances were gonna be with all of this stuff happening. We had a lot of finances going out,
Okay,
very unexpected.
okay. Well, yeah, I'm just trying to come up with something to not leave you homeless. You
Right.
know, because I asked you if you're living there and you said yes.
Yes.
And so now I'm saying, Randy says, you know, you got 3 years to build a home. And so I'm wondering, I guess if you reapplied for a home, would that be okay for a couple years, Randy? Would that put the special use back in if they had a building permit for a home, or now they can't put in for a building permit for a home because they're in violation?
So, well, with violations, we would ask them that they resolve the violation before they put in the home. Because,
Understood.
you know, there's stuff that's
Understood.
built without permits there. Then they could have had the house there, and actually they're allowed to have the RV living there with the house being built for 6 months out, 8 months, or whatever the rule is. But the extensions for the house, so you get 2 years, first one's free. misspoke. The second one for the second 6 months is $25. So it's 3 years that they have to construct their house, once it's there. Once the violations are taken care of, they could reapply for a use permit, and then we would look at that, and if it's met all the requirements, we could issue another use permit, and the use permits are usually for 2 years. And then they can reapply as long as there's not a complaint. During the PNC meeting, there was a complaint
On the property?
on the property, yes, sir.
Blight, or just the buildings, or?
They said that I believe, I'm gonna paraphrase here, that they didn't like that people were building things without permits and leaving them laying around and all that
Okay,
stuff in
okay.
Tonto, and kinda wanted it
Okay.
not be done.
Okay. Are you willing to work with planning and zoning on your violations to get your violations over?
Yes.
Yeah, you've made it pretty difficult on us.
Not intentional.
You know,
it
to
really
make a
wasn't.
decision, so So you're willing to work with your violation to start all over now that you know all of the rules,
Yes.
and willing to pay the consequences if you don't abide by the rules?
Yes.
Okay, I have no further questions.
Okay.
Thank you, Supervisor. How about you, Mr. Klein?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Yes, and Mrs. Porter, you seem like a very nice lady that didn't understand completely, and I understand you're going through some personal things. And so we're gonna make a decision. However, I do need to call to find out if there's anyone else that wishes to speak to this hearing globe.
Okay.
So,
Have a
yes,
seat.
thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak to this public hearing item? Okay, so then I will close the public hearing portion. And Randy, I want to ask you something. So the application for a CUP is really what we're deciding, or a modification
Yes.
of what you've decided. So is this the only path forward? Is there any other options for the Porter family in whether or not they have to move something, whether we can do anything other than a COP or moving the items off of the property?
So you're allowed to modify and make your own conditions for the CUP. So you could give like a time period, let's say 90 days, whatever, that they have to come into compliance, and then we can move forward with the use permit. They could reapply for that use permit, which gives them the 2 years, and then they could, you know, in that time, they could be spending for their plans.
So what is compliance? When you say come into compliance, what does that
You
mean?
get
to them?
permits for what they've done, and
Okay.
that the amount of stuff that's on the property meets the requirements of the use permit.
Okay, so it can stay there while they're doing that process?
Yeah,
I
as
see.
long as there's not too much there. I haven't been there in a while, so I'm not gonna commit
Okay.
to. So I guess the real modification would be to modify the CUP to say they have a time frame that you've deemed to come into compliance, and we would go from there.
Okay. It seems like Ms. Porter is willing to entertain that. And so, is there any other discussion from the board? Then I'll entertain a motion.
So, Mr. Chair, normally it'd be my turn to make the motion, but this is in Tim's district, and the motion that I make, he might not be comfortable with, so I'm gonna let him step out there and make this one.
Okay. Do I hear a motion from Supervisor Humphrey?
Okay, question, Randy. If I make the motion to approve, then it's okay the way it is.
Yes, sir.
So if I make a motion to deny, then it's not okay the way it is.
Yes, sir.
So then would we need to include in the motion that we deny what's going on now?
No, sir. If you deny it, then it's denied, period. And if you, the only way, if, I believe then Joe would, if you
Approve
modify
it with terms.
yeah, if you modified the condition,
Okay, yeah. Okay, then I'm ready to make a motion. Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve Gila County Community Development Case Number CUP P2510-001 with the condition that they have, that the family has 90 days to come into compliance with the violations against the property and reapply for a home and go forward with their property development.
that would, it would convert to a use permit by the CP.
Okay, and convert to a use permit for 90 days and go away if not in compliance within 90 days.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we have a motion.
I kinda like that motion. I probably would win a little longer in time, but I'll second your motion.
Very good. We have a motion and a second to modify the COP as stated. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Randy.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, Mrs. Porter. We wish you the best. All right.
Somebody will email me or
Randy will take care of that, yeah. All righty, moving on to then our item, regular agenda item 3B, information discussion action to adopt resolution 26-02-02 declaring the purposes of section 1.150-2 of the Federal Treasury Regulations, official intent to be reimbursed in connection with certain capital expenditures related to emergency management and infrastructure capital improvement projects. Good morning, Maren.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Supervisor Humphrey, Supervisor Klein. This morning's resolution will allow the Board of Supervisors to declare its official intent to be reimbursed in connection with certain capital expenditures relating to emergency management and infrastructure capital improvement projects arising from the September 2025 flooding event. The estimated cost for recovery is just under 18.3 million. And this would allow the county to go back up to 60 days from today to reimburse itself for expenditures incurred. Happy to answer any questions you have.
Thank you, Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, so we're just applying for this. They can say no.
We're not even at that point yet. Right now, this is just if the Board of Supervisors chooses to move forward with financing options, that we can go back and reimburse the county for expended funds from that financing. So it'd be like a personal example would be like if you put a home repair on your credit card and then later got a home equity line of credit, and you use the home equity line of credit to pay off your credit card. This would allow us, if the board chooses to borrow funds to help facilitate these projects, we could use that funding retroactively to cover expenses already incurred.
So we're out that money even if we don't get reimbursed.
Yes. We will be having a separate agenda item at the beginning of March to talk about funding. This just allows you to, in the event you choose to do that, to use that funding to pay bills that we've already incurred. And if we don't do this, it would mean that we couldn't reimburse ourselves for any expenses incurred until after you borrow money to cover them.
Mr. Chairman, this is related specifically to the potential bonding that was discussed by Mr. Mark Reeder last week. So it's just related to if you proceed to get that bond and go forward with that, then the bond can be used to reimburse expenses up to 60 days prior to today, if you approve this.
Yeah, it just seems like we're between a rock and a hard spot. Either we do, take the chance that we get reimbursed, or we don't.
This is separate from federal and state reimbursement. This is not us saying that if we get FEMA money, we're gonna reimburse ourselves. This is saying if we borrow money, we can use it to cover the bills we've already incurred back for the last 60 days. The applications to get reimbursed to FEMA and DEMA are separate from this. This
Right,
is just
to put our costs back in our checking account.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Supervisor Klein?
I've got a Marin, so for the past 60 days, what kind of money have we spent? I'm not holding you to a specific figure, but
Most of the last 60 days, we actually, we've been pretty conservative, and those expenditures would just be like areas where we spent overtime or where we had consultants like Mr. Vela come in and provide that support. We have not incurred any large bills yet.
okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah, thank you, Maren. I don't really have any other questions, so I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to adopt resolution number 260202.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Maren.
Thank you.
All right, item 3C, information, discussion, action to review all bids submitted for invitation for bids number 100-12025, the Gibson Ranch Road roadway improvement project, and award a contract to the lowest, most responsive bidder, Perkins Cinders, for a total contract amount of $1,462,184.25. Mr. Goodman.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and board members. Well, I'm really happy to be here today. This has been in the works for a long time. It's gone through a lot of iterations, but I think we've got a good project for you now. Public Works and our Public Works Director, Christine Smith, are really happy to present this to you guys for a possible award. So the Gibson Ranch Road project, we'd like to award it to Perkins Cinders. Their bid price was $1,329,258.41. We added a 10% owner's contingency, brings it to $1,462,184.25. Just some quick technical specs. The project's about 2.5 miles long. We're going to be removing old pavement, working on the subgrade in some areas, installing new aggregate base material, and then a double chip seal pavement on top of that. New striping, we're going to be cleaning out some culverts, and we think it'll be a really good project when it's done. So I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Tom. Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions.
Supervisor Klein.
Tom, thank you. This has been a long project in the process, so I'm really glad to see it, and I appreciate all the work you guys have put into it, so
We'll give you a good project.
I bet you do.
Very needed, that's for sure. So 2.5 miles. Does that start at the highway cattle guard?
It starts at the off 87 there. So we're ADOT ends their road
Right there.
at the cattle guard.
All the way into the next cattle guard?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, thank you. With that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to award a contract to Perkins Cinders Incorporated in the amount of $1,462,184.25 in response to invitation for bid number 100-12025.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Tom. Do you have an idea when you'll start?
We want to get started April or May.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
They will be happy to hear that. Item 3D, information, discussion, action to approve amendment number 4 to service contract number 062922, weatherization materials and services with Advantage Home Performance Incorporated, extending the term of the contract through June 30th, 26, and increasing the term amount to $800,000. Good morning, Paula.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. We worked closely with finance on this. Thank you, Olivia. And we would like to, this is to actually finish out the final 8 months of our contract to coincide with our, one of our grants. And so that's why we need the extension to go through June 30th. And Advantage Home Performance is the one that has been doing most of the weatherization projects, as you know. But for your information, staff are in the process of requests for proposals for the next fiscal year in order to solicit more bids and hopefully have some competition with vendors. So, but we do need this to extend out through the end of the grant. So we appreciate your approval on this.
Thank you, Paula. Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, thank you very much, and yeah, the state's made it difficult for contractors to do this kind of work, and so it's made it tough on some of the other contractors to try, and I appreciate you trying. I mean, I beat on their doors trying to get some local contractors interested in helping local people and getting paid for it, but it just doesn't seem to work with the stepping stones that the state's put in place. So thank you very much for continue to trying to help this program.
And thank you for doing that. I know staff have actually asked and tried to get
Oh, yeah, no,
contractors.
they've
sent out
gone
a lot of
above and
emails to-
beyond, and it's just
Yeah.
the state regulations that are difficult to work with, so.
But we're gonna go out again.
Yeah,
You
no.
know, and try to see if there
Oh,
is
yeah,
one
no,
that, you know.
I'll keep knocking on their
Thank you.
doors as well,
Appreciate
so,
it.
thank you very much.
Thank you, Supervisor Clark.
Paula, thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yes, thank you, and with that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve amendment number 4 to service contract number 062922 with Advantage Home Performance Incorporated as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
A motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you
Paula.
very much.
All right. 3E, information, discussion, action. It's an authorization of the advertisement of invitation for bid number 08162025, law enforcement shotguns and accessories. So good morning, Sheriff. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. We're happy to be presenting to you this morning. This item is just to go out and get bids to standardize the shotguns for the certified officers throughout the entire agency. And with that, I can take any questions that you might have.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
What are you gonna do with the old ones?
Oh, we don't currently have any. What we've been doing, chairman, supervisors, audience, staff, what we've been doing for the last, gosh, I don't know, seems like a decade now, is trying to transition from personally owned weapons to county owned weapons, for a lot of different reasons. Number one, the maintenance you have to keep, the ability to have the same training programs, and because if you allow folks to just bring their own stuff, you get a hodgepodge of you don't know what as you go along. So, so we probably, like I said, about a decade ago or so, we started off with the handguns. We standardized those across the field, and a few years ago, as you know, because you were all here, we standardized the rifles that we issued to the deputies. So we're kind of off. Those projects are complete. They're working great. We're trying to go to the next one, which will be shotguns, as you can see. And then there's a few more things we're looking at. These projects are so expensive, we have to kind of spread them out over several years so we can find the money to pay for them, and you can help us find the money to pay for it. And so we just we took the priorities that are worst case scenario to to where we're at now, and that's the stage that we're at. And I'll take any further questions you have.
Thank you.
Thank you. Supervisor Klein.
No, I think it's a good deal, Sheriff. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for all that information. With that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to authorize the advertisement of invitation for bid number that the one I'm on? Yeah. 162025 as presented.
And I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right. 3F, information discussion action to approve agreement number 2025-327 for local border support that is between the Arizona Department of Public Safety and Gila County Sheriff's Office in the amount of $775,178.39, of which $676,531.49 will be used for salary and employee-related expenses for one FTE K-9 sergeant and two full-time employee deputies, and funding for a dual-purpose K-9 and training academy for the Payson Police Department in the amount of $19,000, and equipment and training for the regional tactical team in the amount of $79,646.90 for the term of July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2027. Sarah, are you presenting?
Thank you again, Chairman. This is our local border support funding that we get from the Arizona Department of Public Safety, which is where the legislature put them in charge of these funds. We did a co-application this year with the Payson Police Department, which they encourage us to do kind of regional applications. So this year we were able to do one with Payson. As you can see, we put in to fund our K-9 department, the sergeant and two K-9s for 2 years. We also put in for a K-9 and the training academy for the Payson Police Department. And then we put in to fund all of the equipment and training for the regional tactical team that's being developed right now with the agencies throughout Gila County. So far we have Payson Police Department and the Sheriff's Office have people who have passed the testing to be part of the team. With that, I'll take any questions you have.
Appreciate that. Supervisor Humphrey.
No questions.
Supervisor Klein.
No, I'm good. It looks like a good plan, Sarah. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And with that, I'll call for a motion.
Oh, Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve amendment number 2025-327 for local border support that is between the Arizona Department of Public Safety and Gila County Sheriff's Office in the amount of $775,178.39.
I'll second that, Chair.
Okay, motion and a second to approve. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you again.
All right, we have another deputy with us. Item 3G, information discussion action to approve amendment number 2 to master services agreement with Marigus Healthcare Staffing Incorporated for jail nursing staff, increasing the contract amount by $35,000 for a not to exceed compensation amount of $155,000. Deputy Fulton.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, good morning. This increase will allow me to staff medical nursing as needed when I don't have nursing at the jail.
Very good. Supervisor Humphrey?
No questions, and I can see that you may need that at some point.
Supervisor Klein?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve amendment number 2 to master service agreement with Emergis Healthcare Staffing Incorporated as presented.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. You have another one. 3H, information discussion action to approve contract number CTR 056376 GC1, jail access control system with APIC Solutions?
APIC, yes, sir.
Okay, LLC for a term of February 3rd, 2026 through July 27th, 2026 for a maximum not to exceed amount contract number of $568,878.76.
This replacement of the control boards has been a long time coming. The current control board has been over 25 years old. I have a little under 100 doors, that includes cells, a main gate, that this system controls. Currently, the main system went down about 2.5 years ago, I've been running out of the annex on these doors. I've got numerous doors that don't open because of the control system. It needs to be replaced. You can't order parts anymore. It's just antiquated. So at this point, it's just a matter of time before the entire jail has to be run by keys, which is going to take multiple keys to get in and out because they break them down into sections. Neither the main gates will open. So basically it controls the heartbeat of the whole jail. It needs to be replaced. I'll answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you. Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, I think it's a major for safety, not only for the inmates, but for the guards as well, to be able to have control over what doors open and what doors don't.
Thank you. Supervisor Klein.
No doubt, sounds like you need it. And so is this like an infrastructure improvement, or I guess where's the 500 and some odd $1,000 gonna come from?
My understanding is I'm splitting it with the county. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
And then the other half will come out of Jeff funds.
Oh, I got you. Okay. No, it sounds like you definitely need this improvement, so I'm good.
Mr. Menlove, did you have something?
I just wanted to include that Mr. Fulton and I had the discussion that half of it, the sheriff has been gracious enough to use their jail enhancement money to split half of that, so it's not such a burden on the general fund. So I appreciate the sheriff's willingness to do that.
Okay, thank you for that information. With that, I'll call for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve contract number CTR 056376-GC1 with APIC Solutions LLC as presented.
Mr. Chair, I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to item 3I, information, discussion, action to review all responsive bids submitted for request for proposal number 08072025, the Gila County Emergency Operation Plan, and award contract number 08072025 to the Strategic Edge Group LLC for a maximum not to exceed compensation amount of $75,500. Good morning, Carl.
Morning, Chairman and Supervisors. So this is for a complete revision of the county's emergency operations plan. We do annual updates with this plan. To put it in kind of an analogy form, it's kind of like your routine maintenance on your vehicle, but every once in a while, you're gonna need that complete rebuild or replacement. Those typically would come after large-scale disasters. We've had quite a few of those since our complete revision of this plan. This plan serves as kind of the backbone and the essentially instruction manuals for the way that we handle emergencies. And having that revision is critical for us to have that foundation laid for us. This is something that has had a lot of updates over the past 10 years. Coming from lessons learned from real-time responses, lessons learned from exercises with our community safety partners. So having some technical experts to come in and take those best practices that we've accumulated over the years and formulate those into a plan that's still compliant with FEMA's Community Preparedness Guide 101 or CPG 101, which is necessary for us to continue receiving any sort of funding, whether it be through FEMA or DEMA for regular emergency operations or during disaster responses. So it's a requirement for receiving funding, and then also serves as kind of the backbone for our emergency procedures throughout the county.
Thank you, Carl. Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, Carl, thank you for all you do in our emergencies and keeping us up with things like this. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you, sir.
Supervisor Klein.
Yeah, me as well, Carl. I know you guys have learned a lot with all the stuff that you've dealt with in, let's say, the last 6 years and things like that. So that's gonna be built into this new plan that's coming out, that these folks, how much input are you guys gonna have on this plan, I guess?
Complete direct control. So the CPG 101, as far as what it requires, the compliance is very little. It's just making sure that we're addressing specific topics, specific points. One good example was a recent addition after the pandemic of a logistics distribution plan, because a lot of areas didn't have a plan for receiving a large amount of supplies and how to distribute them. So when FEMA requires us to incorporate this into a plan, they don't tell us how to do it, they just say it needs to be done. So these consultants that will be putting together this plan are under our direction, the inputs, our best practices, and ensure that it's still compliant with what we need to have.
Okay, and then I would imagine somewhere along the way, you're gonna roll it in front of us as like a work session or something for review?
Yes, sir. So this plan is a little unique from all the other required plans emergency management has. This one does not require state or federal approval. The Board of Supervisors is the only approval that this plan needs. So once it's complete, I will be happy to present that before this board.
Thank you, Carl.
Of course.
Yeah, thank you, Carl. So it seems like you should be the one actually writing the whole plan, but anyway, I'll call for a motion.
I think he does most of it, but anyway. I move to approve contract number 08072025 to the Strategic Edge Group LLC as presented.
And I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye. All right, Carl, we have 3J, information, discussion, action to approve the FFY 2025-26 Hazardous Materials Emergency Preparedness Grant Program Funding Agreement, number EV 26-0015, with the Arizona Department of Environmental Quality in the amount of $10,000, which will be utilized to host an annual local emergency planning committee conference. Tell us about that, Carl.
Yes, so the Hazardous Materials Emergency Preparedness Grant is hosted by Arizona Department of Environmental Quality, and they utilize that to support the local emergency planning committees. It is, again, up to the county how they decide to do that. And over the years, I believe we started this around 2017 when we were utilizing it for the annual conferences. And so the conference is beneficial in a lot of ways. We're able to put together something a little bit bigger than just bringing people together in a meeting, doing business, and being on our way. We're required to review and approve the hazardous materials plan, which is a section of the emergency operations plan. So those two are kind of merged as one now, but that specific section needs to be reviewed by this board. That gives us an opportunity to do that. And also we host a tabletop exercise during these events. A tabletop exercise, not only is it just good practice to kind of run through scenarios with our partners to make sure that we're prepared, and it's fun to present challenges to our partners to see how they handle new things. But that's also a requirement to fall under the National Incident Management System. Any applicant for federal grants needs to be compliant with the National Incident Management System, which one of those requirements is participating in an HCEP or Homeland Security Exercise Evaluation Program approved exercise, which these exercises are. So not only does it give us a good practice with these public safety partners, but it also ensures us as the county that we are compliant with the National Incident Management System, and any of those participants also receive credit for that compliance as well. So this funding does not come with a match. So all of this funding is going direct and beneficial for us. It's beneficial for all of our partners. And we're kind of checking a lot of boxes with one event by applying it to a conference, because this conference is where the required meeting takes place. It is where the hazardous materials plan is approved by this group, and it is also the venue that we utilize to perform that tabletop exercise with our community partners.
Thank you, Carl. Supervisor Humphrey.
Thanks.
Supervisor Klein.
Is that exercise gonna be propane tanks floating down the creek?
I try not to spoil anything, sir, because these, but actually, yes, we are going to utilize some of the Low Miami flooding events aspects to this for multiple reasons. And I know it seems, as if we've just gone through this, what more can be learned? There's always more that can be learned. And this brings together our partners from all over the county, not just the South. So for the Southern partners that are participating, they'll be able to revisit and look at this from a different perspective in a low stress environment, but also be able to share those lessons learned with all of the response parties throughout the county. And we're actually going to have the Department of Forestry and Fire Management assisting with this exercise, which is nice because when we bring in those incident management teams, much like that event, they come into the fold, typically during the disaster and figure out what's happening when they get there. But this kind of bridges that gap and gets conversations going before the events happen. So yes, it is going to be utilizing past events to be able to revisit, refresh, and practice what we do.
That's cool. Also, your conference, you'll just have one locally placed conference here in Gila County is what you're gonna do, or you can have one on each end?
We rotate, so we do an annual conference. Last year was up in Payson. This year will be down in Laurel.
Okay. Thank you, Carl.
Of course.
Yeah, thank you, Carl, for all you do. With that, I'll call for motion.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve the fiscal year 2025 to 26 Hazardous Materials Emergency Preparedness Grant Program funding agreement number EV 26-0015 with the Arizona Department of Environmental Quality as presented.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you, Chairman,
Carl.
Supervisors.
Our next item is our consent agenda items. We have items 4A through J. Supervisor Humphrey, any of those items that you would like to discuss separately?
Yes. B and C.
Item 4B and C. Supervisor Klein, same question.
No, I think he hit it on the head on that one.
Okay. Then we will now discuss item 4B, which is the approval of amendment number 1 to contract CTR 059323-3-GC1, the titled purchase of 14 new Ford vehicles based on Arizona Procurement Cooperative Contract number CTR 059323-3 with Santan Auto Partners LLC, doing business as Santan Ford, reassigning the subcontracts for the wraps on the 3 Ford Expedition 4-door XL 4x4 SVs for the Sheriff's Office from Western Reprographics to Pride Outfitting, and decreasing the contract amount by $1,617.02 for a new contract amount of $844,350.18. Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, a question on the vehicles. Is it, I guess, from my understanding, these are vehicles that were agreed to be purchased a long time ago. This is just for the wrap on the vehicles, or are these vehicles, some of these vehicles, to be purchased and wrapped by this company?
No, these were the vehicles that were approved to be purchased last fiscal year. So they were already approved for purchase. We just had to have a change in vendors due to our vendor being located on Broad Street here that was involved in the flood, and due to damage to his equipment was unable to perform the vehicle wraps.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure of that, because consent agenda, sometimes you never know what's going to come through there, and it gets approved with all the others. So that's just a question that I had to be clarified, and so that's good.
Thank you. Supervisor Klein.
David, when you're going through the Arizona procurement contract process for these 14 Ford vehicles, how come we're not going out for bid?
Last year, I think we were kind of in a crunch to get it done quicker because it got held up due to logistics going back and forth. So that's why we utilized the contract last year.
You know, from what I've seen so far in these chairs, when we get in a corner and we use Arizona procurement contracting, we pay more money. And so, and also I feel like when we go through just regular contracting, we give more of our locals a better chance to bid, which I like. I like to see the money. I wish we could guarantee we could spend all the money locally. We can't, I understand. But, so I don't understand why we would be in a crunch on this. We're already a year behind. if it was last fiscal year. So that's one of my questions right there. That's my main question, I guess. I don't like going through Arizona State procurement process. I just don't, so. And Marin's gonna tell me why I'm wrong.
Just to clarify, this purchase was approved back in last fiscal year. All we are asking the board to do today is to allow us to reassign the wraps on the, you already approved the purchase of the trucks. It's already done.
Okay,
But Tanner got washed out,
right.
and I know, right, United Fund and the community have done everything they can to get Tanner back up and running, but Tanner still needs more time. So in order to get this done, we just need to reassign the wraps to Pride Outfitting. We are well aware that the board wants us to go out to bid on all new vehicle purchases, that you want us to not be brand specific with Ford, and that you want us to make sure that when we bring you vehicle bids, that they compare Chevy, Ford, Dodge, and whatever else is out there. This is just to get the wraps finished on these so that we can wrap up this this $844,000 from fiscal '25.
Perfect. I'm glad you made that plain, because when you put it all in one paragraph like this, it looks like it's more than just changing the wraps on three
Right.
vehicles.
Yeah, and
I
we
mean-
had that conversation during the agenda review last week, and we knew that this was gonna come up, and that's why Dave's here today. We wanted to make sure that we were prepared to explain that this is just a reduction in the cost by $1,600 and switching it to Pride Outfitters, which is in the valley, because our local vendor, due to the flooding, is unable to fulfill the original contract.
Yeah, I get that part of it. I'm good with that.
Okay?
Thank you, Marin.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Sorry.
thank you. David, approximately how much does it cost to wrap a deputy's vehicle?
The quote that I had gotten from Western Reprographics was about 1,200 per vehicle, roughly.
Okay. Well, I hope he gets up and running again, because that's, you know, part of his business. But
Yeah.
anyway, so I believe I need to call for a vote on this one specific item. So I'll call for a motion for item 4B.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve amendment number 1 to contract number CTR 0593233-GC1. Title purchase of 14 new Ford vehicles based on Arizona procurement, cooperative contract number CTR 05932-3 with Santan Ford Partners LLC, doing business as Santan Ford, reassigning the subcontracting for the wraps on the 3 Ford Expedition 4-door XL 4x4 SSVs for the Sheriff's Office from Western Reprographics to Pride Outfitting, and decrease the contract amount by $1,617.02 for the new contract amount of $844,350.18.
Pardon me? No. Do we have a second?
For 3 wraps, that's a pretty good amount of money, isn't it? Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on item 4B. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you.
All right, item 4C, approval of amendment number 3 to computer software support agreement number USC 000201593 with Motorola Solutions Incorporated, extending the term of the agreement from January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2026 for an amount not to exceed $148,606.70 to provide continued maintenance and updating of the Spillman software program. Supervisor Humphrey.
Yeah, my question on this one is okay, for a new contract amount not to exceed $148,606.70, what was our previous contract amount? I mean, I just don't know if we're approving 2,000, 10,000, same amount.
Certainly.
With
So the
Miss Olivia Todd.
term amount, I apologize, good morning, it was $142,565.92 in the 2025 calendar year. So it's an increase of
$6,000.
approximately 6,000.
Okay, that's asked and answered. I just had no idea. I don't remember things that we approved a year ago, so I was
Sure, no
just,
worries.
like I say, consent agenda sometimes, you know, I don't know, it could have been 100,000 and we just gave them $50,000 on
Oh,
consent agenda.
I wouldn't do
So,
that to you, I
well,
promise.
I believe you very much. Okay, anyway, yeah, just clarification.
Certainly.
Is all, and I appreciate it.
Good, Supervisor Klein?
I'm good, thank you, Lou.
Yeah, I'm good. I'll call for a motion on item 4C.
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion to approve amendment number 3 to computer software support agreement number USC 000201593 with Motorola Solutions Incorporated.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second on item 4C. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Very good. The remaining items on the consent agenda items, which will be 4A through J minus 4B and 4C, I will call for a motion to approve.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion to approve items 4A and 4D through J.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second to approve. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Very good. All right. Call to the public. Do we have anyone, Lisa, in your vicinity?
No, sir.
And how about, thank you, how about you, Cassandra? No, how many do we have on the internet?
We're about 35.
85, very good, very good. All right, is there anyone here in the Globe boardroom that wishes to speak to us? Call to the public. No? All right, I'll close that, and I will now open it up to our summaries and reports, and I'll start with Manager Menlove.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I wanted to point out today that Supervisor Humphrey, you brought up several times as we just discussed the flooding and potential financial resources for that. Representative Marshall had introduced a bill down at the state to appropriate $25 million to respond to the flooding for town of Miami, City of Globe, and Gila County. There's been a change just late yesterday afternoon that was kind of almost like a striker in that bill to change that from coming to southern Gila County to having that money appropriated to Department of Emergency Management. And so what that does is it takes it out of getting money to local resources and to fund local needs of fixing infrastructure stuff, puts it in the state's hands, and certainly complicates things of how much money would be distributed to Gila County and this southern Gila County. Mr. O'Driscoll has organized a group of people to attend that committee hearing tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, I think. Yes, including you, Supervisor Humphrey, to attend that and to testify of the needs that we have here. A number of others with our emergency management folks and public works and others will be going to testify as well. So I just want to make sure you're aware of that. There's been that last minute change that they, in essence, again, a striker, that they completely changed where the money would go and how it would be handled, and limiting the amount of money that could potentially come to Gila County. If you have any questions about that, I'd be glad to answer them or have Mr. O'Driscoll answer those questions. So, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, thank you, Manager. Supervisor Humphrey.
I have no questions of Mr. Menlove.
Are you finished with your report, Mr. Menlove? Okay. Supervisor Humphrey.
I held a District 2 project team meeting where I meet with engineering and public works and everybody, and we go over projects and in District 2 that are under construction or projects that we'd like to bring into the monthly meeting to work on. And so I I enjoy those meetings, and I get informed to better inform my public of what's going on when I go to public meetings and things. The other day I got a call from Mayor Madrid, so Mayor Gameros, Mayor Madrid, and I were gonna meet for coffee to see kind of what we could do to further reach out for funding sources, or what we could do as a community to try to get a direction. And our morning coffee was canceled the day before, which was great because Eli Crane came in with FEMA and DEMA. And so we were able to have a meeting with them and explain to them the damage, the reason for the damage, the extent of the storm. And then we also did a drive around to see some of that. And so Eli Crane is working hard with FEMA to take a second look and to work with DEMA on trying to help us get some kind of something, some kind of response. And we, you know, the gentleman from FEMA, I didn't get his name, but he said that he is committed to reach and try to help the communication between us, the state, and the feds to get everybody on a same page, because it seems like there's been a loss of communication on where to go and what to do. So that was a very good meeting. And then this evening at 5, I will hold a Tonto Basin public meeting where the public can come, and no agenda. And so that's all I have.
Thank you. Supervisor Klein.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. So yesterday we were informed of a meeting that took place this morning. It would have been about 9:30 DC time. And it was with the Energy Senate government hearings. And what it is a business meeting to consider pending legislation. So there's a list of a lot of different bills, but in this list is our bill for the Veterans Center that they were going to discuss. And along with that is also another bill from Apache County that we're in there with on some conveyance of land there for cemeteries. So we have high hopes that that came out good today. They were going to record it. We're going to try and get a copy of that recording so we can listen to it and see how that goes. But both Kelly and Crane are sponsoring these bills. So there's high hopes that we'll get it over the finish line soon. That's it.
Okay, that sounds good. So I have a little bit of a list here. I'm on the Legislative Policy Committee with the CSA. And we've been meeting weekly, and you know, there's well over 2,000 bills now. It's a little crazy. That will be closed soon though. Some of the bills we discussed, most of them are opposed. We oppose the bill as written, or just outright because it's really rather ridiculous. So one that we did approve was the request for a bill called SB 1167, and it's how the counties are would be able to post to satisfy the requirements for posting, and be able to do that on the website instead of always just purchasing from the paper. There's a lot of debate on whether or not this will impact the papers negatively. We are in a changing world, a changing environment, so I think we should at least have that permissive sense to do that if we're able. Once again, there's a call to split Maricopa County into 5 other counties, or 4 other counties. There's 2 bills. Pretty much on the face of it, that's a no way. Even the supervisor from Maricopa County is like, no. So one of the proposals is that Gila County would grow to a total of 350,000 people. Can you imagine? I don't want to be part of that district.
That would give us more votes.
It would give us.
We don't have any votes, no. That's
well, it would exceed my ability to handle the headache. ridiculous. La Paz County would be, looks like some kind of a ginseng plant going through the state, trying to, the most gerrymandering looking thing I've ever seen. Property tax exemptions, another one, you know, like make certain people privileged to not have to pay taxes. I've never agreed with that. If we have a society, it should be taxed evenly or equally and not show favoritism. But anyway, most of those were all opposed. That's just a very brief update. There's nothing really that exciting about it. I will be attending tomorrow for Bill 2070. I have asked to speak as well. So we'll see how that goes. And I have given the two managers and the other supervisors a list of the abandoned vehicles that we've been working on. It's extensive. Just under 30 vehicles have been removed. If you look at the photographs, it's astounding as to what we've accomplished for really so little money. It's just amazing what people are throwing out into our public lands. And so I wanted you to see that. The relatively low amount of money that we put into that, which I think was $25,000, they haven't even spent that yet. And anyway, we're cleaning up horrible issues, and it's really really a win-win that way. I have been meeting regularly now, getting updates on Rally Around the Flag project. The architectural reports and the progress seem to be excellent. I think they really understand what is desired, and hopefully soon we'll be able to present that to the board and show where we are on that. There's something held by the Chamber. It's called the Community and Business Hall of Fame Awards. It's an annual event. We are listed as one of 3 under the category of Collaborator of the Year. Okay, so anyway, I wasn't necessarily intending on going, so we probably should have representation there. I just don't want to pay the $80 to do it, so.
What's the dates on it?
It's February 7th. It's a Saturday, and it's in the evening. It starts at 4:30. So if I get so many requests, pretty soon my checkbook starts looking pretty sad. So if the other 2 would like to attend, or the manager would like to attend, that is available. Or I'll attend if somebody pays for it. Thank you there in the back. Okay, and then I have scheduled now, and the information will be released very soon, for our annual fire meeting in the north, March 18th. March 18th. So look for that. Those emails will be sent out here pretty quick. And so that's really all I have. So is there anything else? If there's nothing else, then I'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you.